Although Shavuos is associated in our mind primarily with Talmud Torah, and rightly so, nevertheless, the Torah places the primary focus not upon Torah and Matan Torah, but rather upon tzedakah. If we look at the psukim which describe Shavuos in the Torah, the psukim tell us, this is the actual proclamation of the Yom Tov triggered by the Shtei HaLechem. But then the pasuk continues, in the midst of all the Yom Tovim, in the chapter devoted exclusively to the Yom Tovim, the Torah inserts one stray pasuk, the pasuk about Matas Anim. And the clear conclusion is the pasuk is there for a reason. For the same reason that the Torah inserted the mitzvah of Daled Minim in Sukkot, and the mitzvah of Matzah on Pesach, and Shofar Rosh Hashanah, it inserted the mitzvah of Tzedakah and Shavuos. Because the primary focus of Shavuos and the spiritual challenge of Shavuos is to deal with Avodas Hashem, with worshiping the Kadosh Baruch Hu in an affluent society. Not when you don't have, when you do have. If Pesach focuses upon Avodas Hashem out of distress and trouble and pain, and I'll remind you of the psukim which most strongly emphasize this, which describe Bnei Yisrael in Egypt. ויום אסמך מצרים ילכו מסום מן העבודה ויזעקו ותל שב אסם אלוהים מן העבודה וישמע אלוהים את נעקסם ויזכרו אלוהים את בריסו ויצחק יצחק יעקב. Bnei Yisrael in distress, in pain, in suffering, crying, screaming to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and we all remember from the Haggadah, and so on and so forth. Basically, based on Egypt, were in total despair. They saw no point even having children. They decided to withdraw from having children because why bring a child to the world in such an ugly world? However, Shavuos is the opposite. The world is sunny. Kadosh Baruch Hu is smiling upon you. Let's flip to the Psukim and Dvarim, which describe Shavuos. From the moment you put the sickle to the harvest, things are happy, there's lots of joy, there's an abundant harvest. Baruch Hashem, you have good parnasa, and the spiritual challenge now becomes to be Oved Hashem in an affluent society. It is not only as difficult as to be Oved Kadosh Baruch Hu in a poor society, it's trickier and more problematic. When a person is in distress, he recognizes what a trivial and petty being he is, how dependent he has upon the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Dependence is a primary religious motivation, while self-sufficiency economic self-sufficiency gives the illusion of self-sufficiency. It's for good reason. The Ramban said that the primary form of tefillah is tefillah in distress. Distress focuses and emphasizes dependence, and lack of distress and sufficiency provides a false sense of security. And this is the challenge of Chag HaShavuot. And it's a dual challenge. On one level, not to fall into the fallacy that we are independent, that we don't need the Kadosh Baruch Hu's favor, or simply to the apathy of forgetting the Kadosh Baruch Hu because life is good and our routine is happy and pleasant. Not to emphasize pleasures of value, not to chase hedonistic values. This is one level. Simply put, affluent society can sink into the problem of spiritual lethargy, and simply forget about spiritual values. Focus upon the now rather than what's high up in the heavens. But another level, there's also the challenge of taking responsibility. Responsibility for the society, responsibility for the weaker members of society, remembering that what Kosh Baruch Hu blessed you with, that all you've gotten is a blessing mishamayim, which imposes responsibility. Seizing responsibility is what Shavuot is all about. Leaving part of the harvest in the field for the needy. Not taking everything, leaving the leftovers in the field. This both is a sense of responsibility on the one hand, and Chazal are quite clear. Sheli, sheli, shelcha, shelcha. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. It's kind of ethic of self-reliance. Chazal deemed that midat Sodom. In Sodom, that's how people behaved. In Jewish society, one takes responsibility for the other. That's on one level. Another level is recognition of the Kadosh Baruch Hu's bounty that He granted to you. If you give to others, you recognize that you've also been giving. If you give to the non-deserving, you recognize that you're receiving from the Kadosh Baruch Hu because you're not deserving as well. This is the challenge to be Oved Hashem from self-sufficiency and from a society of plenty. It is true in every generation. It's still true in our generation. Baruch Hashem, Kosh Baruch has been good to us, and despite the fact that unfortunately there remain many individuals who are in need, who struggle with poverty, society at large is much more affluent and with much greater wealth than previous generations. Previous generations could only dream of the current economic situation, but because technology, of course, has made things better, but also because Jews have Baruch Hashem been successful as members of economic society. The immigrants of 2-3 generations ago could only dream of the lifestyle and the affluence that many of their grandchildren and great-grandchildren enjoy. This imposes upon us a great responsibility to be Oved Hashem in the context of Shavuot. If Pesach is matzah, Shavuot is chametz. Chametz is actually a much greater, much more developed form of food, a much better and developed form of production. The transition from matzah to chametz basically thrusts upon us spiritual responsibilities, both towards others in society and to remembering that the Kadosh Baruch Hu has granted all this to us. May we be zoche to mekabel the Torah out of a sense of responsibility. May we be zoche to mekayim the mitzvah of tzedakah, the same way that Boaz did in the fields of Moab. May us too follow in Boaz's footsteps. And let's remember, Chazal claim that the main hero of Megillat Ruth is Boaz, because the message of the Megillah is the importance of Gilus Chasadim. Chag Sameach, Good Yom Tov, and may we all, may the Kadosh Baruch Hu give us all the schus to live up to His expectations.